Okay. This session is fundraising basics and build your donor base through the community events. And my pleasure is for introduce Ibrahima Maubarak. My English is very bad, and I training my presentation, but the chair was changing, and now I'm very upset. He is a cancer survivor under more than 10 years of fighting for this disease from 2003 to 2012. As a consultant, he shares his valuable experience related to the cancer and he's member of the World Health Organization's informal advisory group to developing the framework for meaningful engagement of people living with NCD. Applause and welcoming for Ibrahima.
Thanks. Yesterday I have spending the night to searching for the best and appropriate word in front of this august audience because I am Francophone. Guess to you title ranks and quality. Today I have the honor to share the session of fundraising basic and build your donor base throughout community events. Fundraising is an essential pillar for no-profit organization, allowing them to finance projects, support cause, and strengthen their session. In fact, basic of fundraising, there are clear objective, target audience, strength, and convicting message. Trust a fundraising channel. For the importance of community event for fundraising, there are community engagement, awareness engagement. For this session, I am assisted by Jolanta Bilinska, moderate, with an honorary Kara. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I would like to invite two speakers to me. Nicola Sheehan, she is president of Global Colon Cancer Association, and Francisco Freire, Foundation Fomento de Sarolo Teresa de Jesus, Mexico. Please come to stage. Hello. So Nicola Sheehan is the president of Global Colon Cancer Association, and she has held leadership position and the Colorectal Cancer Alliance, including Chief Development Officer and Chief Operating Officer. Inspired by her mother's death due to cancer, she has dedicated her professional career to health and human service organization. And our next speaker, Francisco Freire, is CEO and General Director of Foundation Fomento de Desarrollo Teresa de Jesus, the only institution in Mexico providing comprehensive support for individuals with gastric and colorectal cancer, focusing on prevention and early detection. As before Ibrahima said, today we have the topic fundraising basic and build your donor base with community events. I hope after this session you will not have problem to come for our next conference with individual support or corporate donors or any special events or charity concert. So I hope everyone will know the best recipe for next meeting. The floor is yours. Mhm.
Thank you so much. Thank you to World Patients Alliance for inviting me to share some of the fundraising information that I've learned. And really, today I want to hopefully provide you with some tips and items that you'll be able to put into practice fairly easily. Several years ago, I remember signing up for a fundraising conference that really overpromised and underdelivered. And it was such a fail that it's really stuck with me. And it probably was about 20 years ago. And we were so eager, and it really promised that, you know, you're going to learn how to, this was around fundraising, but specifically utilizing media. And the speaker got up and the first thing they said was, well, we signed a contract with the ad board. This is a group that does media in the US for $1 million. And like, everyone looked around the room and like, so you paid $1 million and that's how you were successful. And like all of the pens went down instantly, because I don't know many people that are signing up for conferences that have access to $1 million to pay to a for-profit company to run an ad campaign to bring in donors. So that really has always stuck with me. And hopefully some positive comes from that, which is that I want to make sure that we're providing realistic tips and information, news you can use. So really the goals for this session, I want to talk a little bit about fundraising basics, and then that we'll shift, and Francisco is going to talk about the community events that they do. And again, speaking to actionable and reasonable ways to engage, and things that hopefully you could start in your community in a very short period of time. And that's really what Francisco is going to focus on. You won't hear him drop any $1 million, oh, this is what we just did this. And in Mexico, Francisco has done an amazing job with his organization of engaging the community and different stakeholders that have different means and ways to give back. So very briefly, I want to just go over a few basics of fundraising. And really, these are the major buckets where organizations are typically funded. Individuals, you'll see this in a later slide, make up a lot more of fundraising than people tend to think. And actually, very interestingly, you know, a lot of people are not asked to give. It's kind of like that 80-20 rule. It's like 20% of the people are asked all the time to give money, and they become exhausted and kind of disengaged. But so many people are not asked to give. There was a study that was done in the US in the Latino community where they were talking about that the number one reason why they are not donating to causes is because they're not asked, because people are assuming and making assumptions that are completely inaccurate and only hurting their mission. Corporations and foundations and government. And I'll just go through a few of the different ways that we typically see that these different types of donors are giving. So individual giving, again, is a major opportunity. And these are some of the main ways that people give. And if you hear the term annual fund, it doesn't really mean a lot. At least to me, it never really made that much sense, the annual fund. But in general, that's typically your general operating costs. You, as an organization, can utilize funds from your annual fund to cover specific programs, operation costs, staff costs, really whatever you need. And this is an ongoing campaign. Typically, if you go to a website and you hit the donate button, unless you are designating it to go to a specific campaign, you're supporting an organization's annual fund. Recurring donations could be for a specific campaign, or again, going to your overall annual fund. And this is often small donation amounts, and it could be like a few dollars a month. What's really important and why I wanted to highlight the recurring donations is that these are some of your greatest champions. And unfortunately, they're often kind of not recognized because, you may literally get $2 a month. But you have to keep in mind that people giving consistently is an incredible meaning that they are believing in you and continuing to do so. And these are also the people that are the greatest opportunities to figure out how you can best engage for future and perhaps a larger partnership. People who do make monthly donations, no matter how small they are often the people that will leave a large donation from their estate to a nonprofit. Those are actually the #1 people who do it. Many of us are savers and don't want to overextend, but are planning on leaving a good amount of their estate to a nonprofit. And again, that's where the pipeline for somebody to give a donation from their estate when they pass, it mostly comes from people who've been giving small amounts each month. Fundraising events, and that's what we'll talk about today, and not just fundraising events to have donations to help keep your organization going, but importantly, and Francisco will talk about this, it's about bringing more people into your organization and having a stronger alliance with your community, and being able to bring in more volunteers, more staff, more media attention. It really hits every major goal. And matching gifts. And many companies will match donations and even time that individuals volunteer. Corporate giving, we tend to see sponsorships where there is an expectation of recognition. And it depends on the company, but depending on what benefit you're providing to a corporation, that affects the tax deductibility amount. And my recommendation before connecting with a corporation and making an ask is finding out if they prefer to do an entirely charitable donation or if they're interested in receiving sponsorship benefits. And never to assume. We might think that we've got this really attractive sponsorship package, but at the company that triggers a legal review and they're okay. They're fine with it just being a charitable donation. And then also matching gifts, again, is a highly underutilized opportunity. It does take a little bit of time to set them up and follow up with people, but very much underutilized as a means for giving. Foundation giving tends to be more on the charitable side, less about recognition, and often foundations receive money from individuals that have a specific area of interest, and then they disseminate those funds. Foundation giving, I think, is one of the most common pain points for nonprofit professionals in fundraising. I think every person that has a board of directors has gotten why don't we have foundation funding? Where's all the foundation funding? And I have to say that it can be a kind of contentious conversation to have, because I've spent a lot of time with people who work at foundations that have said, really, we receive so many requests that we can't even review them. And I think about how many hours and days and weeks people spend, personally have done it myself as well, putting together these amazing proposals. And then to hear somebody say, we can't even look at it because we receive so many. I really encourage that you look at targeted. Foundations have board of directors. Often you need to have a board of director that will actually say, there'll be a request coming in, I'd like you to review it. It doesn't mean that you'll get it, but when a foundation says on their website that they do not review unsolicited proposals, believe them. They are over solicited, and it's just a lot of time, and often we don't even hear back from foundations. And then government, just very briefly to touch on government. Some organizations here have talked about support that they've received from government. And there are a couple of ways to do this, but some organizations are successful in lobbying their government for services that they are offering that the government should be offering, and looking at a fee-for-service model. And I think that there's a lot to that. I think that we kind of need to move more into looking at showing the government that this is what you should be doing. We've been doing it in a charitable way, and now here's an opportunity for us to officially run this aspect. Okay, so what are the benefits of a fundraising campaign? You know, obviously the financial stability is up there, but there's so much more to it, and why we want to engage and have fundraising opportunities. Financial stability is, of course, critical. We often hear the phrase, no money, no mission, right? The statistics are staggering about how few nonprofits make it to the 10-year mark. And it's, you know, a labor of love for people, particularly in community-based organizations. People are spread so thin that, you know, they are constantly working with the community, and the needs of the community are always going to take precedence over making a nice PowerPoint to present to a donor. If you have a patient who's calling you and needs you to be with them, that is where you're going to be. Unfortunately, without the funding, many organizations do not make it anywhere near that 10-year mark. As I mentioned, individuals really make up a massive amount of donations that come to nonprofits. And so in looking at that, I just wanted to talk about, and just glance here, that looking at what are the things that you can do in the short term and passively. So pretend that you don't work for your organization and you are somebody who has been impacted by this disease. If you're going on Google, are you finding your organization? If a family member or somebody that you know has passed away from the disease that you're supporting, how easy would it be for you, if you didn't already know your website, to be able to navigate and set up a fundraising page, or to have in lieu of flowers, we're requesting that donations are being made to your organization. I think that passive opportunities for people to engage and make donations should really be the first step, that we need to kind of move out from, take a step back and say, you know, if I didn't know my organization, how easy am I making it for people to be able to support? And then additionally, looking at existing opportunities. And I'll just give an example. There is a Subway, a sandwich shop called Jersey Mike's in the US. And every single one of these sandwich shops is mandated to have fundraising events where for an entire day, 20% of all of the sales will go to a local nonprofit. All you have to do is talk to the manager and just make the agreement and show that you're an official nonprofit. And I think you can do it once a year. This has grown into a massive fundraising campaign. And the only thing that you have to do is be an official nonprofit. So I think keeping your eyes open and seeing what other organizations are doing and ways that you can add your organization to existing giving opportunities. Then moving out of the passive aspect is looking at that active. And Giving Tuesday has become a much larger initiative over the past few years. I know that there's a Giving Tuesday South Africa initiative that Tumi has been involved with that's been very impactful. As this opportunity for giving continues to grow, what are you doing to make sure that if somebody is on Giving Tuesday looking to make a donation, what are you doing to elevate your organization so that you have a chance of receiving a donation? Also keeping in mind that other times that people are looking to engage where they may not be your core supporters right now would be year-end giving, and also during awareness months. So if somebody is seeing, you know, during awareness months, we see more media attention, a lot of human interest stories on the news. What are you doing to be able to capture that and to be able to receive more support? And this is just wanted to give a few images. This is from our colorectal cancer awareness month initiative, Blue Hat Bow Tie for CRC awareness. And just want to highlight that connecting awareness with fundraising is a great opportunity. I think that you have to really understand where your community is, and you don't want to scare people off. And I won't steal any thunder from Francisco here, but the opportunity to bring your Awareness Month initiative, even if there's not a direct ask, I would encourage you that your team that works on awareness is highly connected with the fundraising team. I know that for many of us, it's the same person, but just to make sure that they're not siloed, because the people who come to your events year after year, the people who are interested in hosting awareness events, these are people that could be your champion fundraisers or donors themselves. Just a few more pictures. And here I will turn it over to Francisco, when you hit that, you know what's going to happen. All right, so I'm very happy to turn it over to my colleague, Francisco from Futeje in Mexico. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Well, I'm also honored to be here, from far away, Mexico. And, all the topics that I have been learning in these past days and all the words that I have been hearing from all of you, that it's commitment, it's this advocacy that we have, this love to what we do. And more words that I have been, talking with most of you guys, having now new friends, from other countries, other, cultures, everything. It gives me always this opportunity to learn. And I hope that this bag would be like a magician bag that I can open it, and I can take money and, appear money, but it's not that way. So in these community events, there are some of them to be made. What we have experienced in Mexico, that it has been very helpful for us, is I'm going to put now this video, and from then I'm going to start my presentation.
Aquí tenemos a muchos pacientes que han salido adelante, entonces quiero que nos ayuden a promover que este cáncer es prevenible. Un abrazo y gracias por acompañarnos a todos. Dios los bendiga.
Gracias por estar con nosotros, por apoyar esta fundación, por apoyar a las personas que están sufriendo por este cáncer. Amo ver a México así de bonito tan temprano, así que gracias por acompañarnos y felicidades, 3 años juntos.
Lamentablemente, hoy el cáncer colorectal es la primera causa de muerte por cáncer en México y el tercero más frecuente. Muchos aquí están corriendo por sus familias y pues a correr, a divertirnos. Venga.
So as you can see, doing these type of events, many of you could think, but how much is going to cost? No? How am I going to be able to do a thing like this? Because, the money, the permits, and everything. And I am a true believer that if you want to do this type of events, we have to work together. And when I say together, we have to go to private companies because they have the money. And we also, even if we don't like them, we have to work with the government. We have to make them our allies, because to go into the place where you are trying to do your event, you are going to need the permit, you're going to have to pay for them. But if you include them and give them, like, the sponsor, the place, so they can show that they're doing good things, probably they won't charge you anything or even a little bit. But, it's to be partners, making these stakeholders participants of your events. A lot of the costs that we have to do, or that we have doing this type of events, we have managed to do this alliance because I'm a really true alliance believer. So more of them are, I have these sponsors that give me, in specie, it's not money, but they give me things to do the event, because if I wondered how to raise the money just because the registration of the ones that are going to run, don't do it. Do another thing, because the money really will come from all the promotion that you make and all the things that you want to do. So the objective for this race is to raise awareness, because it's also a very large space to do awareness of what we do. In my case, colorectal cancer, and also to give this visibility to a disease that now it's #1 cause of death by cancer in my country, and also by the sum of this effort, give hope of life to those people that are struggling and are giving the battle to colorectal cancer. So what we do first is locate where we want to make the place. Where is it going to be? At what day, what hour? We have been also, making these public policies, lots of things with the government pushing, to make or create laws. And we have managed to get our National Day of Colorectal Cancer, that is the 31st of March of every year. So we pushed this initiative, into the Senate, and 2 years later, it was published and it was approved. So as you see here, it says April, because in Mexico we have this Holy Week, so nobody was home. So everybody was on vacation, so I have to move it. But usually in March, that is the month that we have most visibility or more visibility, is where we do it. So to do this, you have to plan the day, the space, the hour, and for how many people are you doing this event. So then for the sponsorships that you are gonna try to sell, it's what are you gonna offer to them besides, this branding or whatever they wanna do, or they are entitled to have, because of the money that you're gonna charge them or that you are gonna ask for. So for example, we have, this is the kit that we give to the runners, okay? So it's all the brands, all the things that you need to do whenever. And the thing that it's always very, very, people like it so much is the shirt, okay? Because the shirt also represents, our image, what we are doing. We always have, it's the 3rd race against colorectal cancer, but we also have this hashtag. Yesterday they were talking about hashtags, and this is corriendo por. Corriendo por means running for. So we always leave this space so you can write the name of your motive, because if it's yourself, a deceased, person, family, or just because you want to run or whatever. So this really gives a meaning to the people to go to the race. And even though when we promote the race, because it's not so many, so it's almost cost, the cost of the registration is not that much. You're talking is about $25, to enter the race, and you get the shirt, you get everything. So the thing, sometimes people will say, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to go." Hey, why you? Okay, you're not going, but how about you inviting someone else? What about register? Because you have the possibility. So register 2 people or 3 people. And then there are going to be the relatives of our patients, because our patients go to race. We don't charge them anything, but the families want to go. So we are like giving these opportunities for someone to give the grant for the families of the patient, and then the families and the patient will send a picture and a letter of, giving all this, saying thank you and everything for this. So other thing that it's important, it's the route. You have to define a route. We usually do the 5K route, and then we have a walk, for 1.5 kilometers, because this is for patients and also the families of patients. Yes, or people that just want to walk, okay? So it's also a pet friendly. So people go with their pets, with their dogs, so someone go with their cats. And what we are doing now, really, and what we are doing now, it's, I say, why don't you register your dog? So you can see dogs, and you're going to see them in some pictures, that they buy the kit, they put the shirt to the dog, and the dog goes to the race. And it is so nice, because this gives this, how do you say? It's like people are really into help other people that have colorectal cancer. So all the services that you have, or you need, the warm up, hydration, medical services, closed circuit, et cetera. So for example, there are here things that you would have to pay, medical services. So I do these alliances with the Red Cross. The Red Cross is a non-profit organization. Say, Red Cross, come, put an ambulance in the routes, put some paramedics and motorcycles, so they are covering the event, and I don't have to pay anything. So it's these alliances that will give us lots of things that it's going to be easier for us to do it, to deliver a very, very great event, and also, all the things that you are going to offer them. We have 3 different types of sponsorships, and these are some of the things that they're entitled to. This is for the registration, because it's one day that the people go to pick up their kits with all the things that are inside of it. The bag also gives the opportunity for some sponsors, to put all the flyers. Well, we give the shirt, we give the number. Here you have, this is the thing that the chip knows, so you can measure the time. And also, different sponsorships, soaps, shampoos, lots of things for free. So there are samples that people really goes, with many things, and they are willing to, when is the next race? Then in the competition day, they will have, more things to do. They could put a stand on there's a place for all the sponsorship to put their stand and give away information or whatever. And the most important thing is that in these events in FUTEGE, we are around the earnings that we have. They're around $100,000. So it's much money. It's a lot of money for us, and entirely goes to pay treatments, to pay catheters, to pay ostomy equipment, also to do another things of, everything it's entitled to give support to all the patients that we are receiving, So this will give us lots of opportunities to do what we are, or the reason to be of FUTEGE, because we exists because of the patients. You know, you in the video saw Maria Teresa Cepeda, the woman that was talking, that was saying some words. She's a gastric cancer survivor and a lymphoma on her head also since 23 years now. Oh, Nicole, no stere. And she's there, you know, she's always pushing, she's always doing things. And so to do all these things is getting us closer to the people and working with the government, you know, looking for the support of companies. We believe, you know, that we have to build these bridges, you know, close the gap and all the differences with governments or whatever, you know, because if we go against them or we confront them, we're not gonna get anything and we're not gonna build. So for us, it's easier and better to build than to confront. So I really invite you to do all this PR, you know, to do all these things, because the most important thing is, for example, media impact. Yesterday, and the exposure that Ravi gives was spectacular. And many of us were saying how much it's going to cost. And you can see here that I have newspapers, I have TV, I have radio, I have all the medias, and I didn't pay a cent. Everything was pro bono, okay? People were looking for me. Hey, I know that you're gonna make a raise. I wanna interview you because we have been delivering. You know, for many NGOs around the world, credibility is very important. So how you manage your finances, your transparency, all the things that you're doing are very, very important. So to others, trust you, believe you, and give you money to do your things. So with this, also social networks that yesterday was, all of this in Mexico are really, really important actors, actresses, singers. So there was a girl that was saying, oh, I'm happy to be so early in the morning. Well, she's a very well-known young artist and singer, and also she does the theater, whatever. So her grandmother dies from colorectal cancer. So since the first race that we made, she was committed to us. So all these persons are in different soap operas, theater, you know, they're doing things with Cassandra. And when I preparing for the race, I always say, Cassandra, I send her the shirts, so they will put the shirt, and I will send them like the heart messages. You know that, do you know that colorectal cancer is the third cause of the death of cancer in Mexico? Or do you know that, you know, all these, how to say, hard information in small messages. So all these guys, you know, they tape themselves, they send me back their videos, we put their names, we send them back, and they load it up into all their websites. Millions of people see what we are doing. And thank you. And I invite you to really, you know, do events like this, because it's going to be worth it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Nicole. Thank you very much to Francisco. I hope now the message is that trust is important, to be responsible is very important, and we received so many good practical and theoretical information that now we know to whom to apply, to foundation, to corporate, individuals, and to governments. Now it's time for a short question, please. Please come to the microphone. Yeah, it's on. It's working. Please introduce yourself, who you are.
I am the same guy yesterday, but with
But we
I-
don't know.
I
every
will
guy.
remind you the last page. You remember? Good. So I have been a professional bigger for patient for the last 15 years. And I fundraise more than $500 million, which is like 250 million dollars, something like that. And I have some takeaway from what I learned, because sometimes we fail. Like now, if I am in the state of Francis, I will do auction for this shirt here. Maybe you collect thousands of boxes, which is good as well. But for donor, because I deal with what we call VIP donor, they need to understand each dollar how it goes. So the impact is very important, and the transparency. We have something now in our charities called mystery donor, not mystery shopper. So they send patient to us and to see how is their experience in the charity and how they get the support. They send auditor, financial auditor, BWC, AY to see our financial statement. So if they donate $100, how it goes, And some charity in some country, I know they take administration fees 30%. It's a big mess. So this is one. Second, which is very important, I believe, and this is the question for the team. Because we talk a lot about fundraising and it is amazing. We know the season. I have Christmas season. I have Holy Ramadan season. There is different season. I use radio, TV, but I failed 2 times in crowdfunding, which is I want to cross border, I want to help patient in Philippines. I run it through my foundation in US, which is foundation just for healthcare. But actually, when I looked to the donor list, it was my father and my mother only. So, and they don't donate a lot. So the question is, when it is a crowdfunding, where still we are humble in that. Business startup, they are unicorn. They collect billions through crowdfunding. But when it comes to the foundation or charity, we are not there yet. The question is why and how we could push that. And the question for both of you.
I mean, crowdfunding, I think it's really interesting. I think just keep in mind that we see some of these campaigns that raise a lot of money. It's very rare. I mean, most GoFundMes, most of these crowdfunding campaigns have your mom and dad. I mean, very few donations, but the ones that break through are the ones that we see. I would say that sometimes we don't necessarily see the connection. Maybe there's a campaign and it's not also on the website. So think about the people that are coming to you naturally. And also when it comes to engaging, particularly a lot of organizations are also registered in the US, when you're looking at engaging in a particular country, looking to see, are there communities in the US that are established, that are dedicated to the culture, to supporting individuals, and what can you do to engage with them? I think that there is often large support bases, but there's a disconnect with what's happening on the ground in the country.
I also want to add that in some countries, like in Mexico, there is not a culture of donation, that it's so important. No, maybe in countries like the United States, the same person will donate to 3, 4 or more causes. So I always, because I also, I'm into radio and I lead to programs of awareness and radio stations that they open me the microphones. So now I have this section and invite other organizations so they can have that space to talk about what they do. What I always say is that there's so many foundations, so many causes, and for people is don't say yes to the first one to come to you. First, look what moves you. What is the cause that you want to support? Then look that that foundation is really established, that they really do what they say. And also that they have, to give you this deductible, or they have the authorization to give, deductible receipts or whatever. So it's going to be easier for every people that want to give a donation to know what they want to put the money up front, and especially to receive a detailed inform or report of where the money goes.
I think the fundraising is a very hot topic, and we could discuss 2 hours more, but we are very, very close. Okay, because I wanted Ibrahima also to close, and we have lunch. Everybody is so hungry. Maybe we can discuss also in the break. Yeah, so, okay, one question more. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Hello, I'm Tatiana Rich, coming from Croatia. I'm president of Croatian Society for Liver Diseases, and I am a past president of European Liver Patient Association. In my past, I was very much involved with the problem of viral hepatitis and was advocating a lot with WHO to establish World Hepatitis Day. At this moment, I would like to raise an issue on how difficult it is to fundraise for a non-hot topic and non-trendy diseases such as viral hepatitis. Let me put it in this way: it is a little bit neglected in comparison with let's say, HIV/AIDS, because there are so many foundations, from Bill Gates Foundation and so on, and they put so much money to HIV, but not to viral hepatitis, which is much a huger problem than HIV. Even when looking for a champion ambassador who would promote this, we even contacted Pamela Anderson, but she did more harm to our community than good, because of some things. I'm not going to go into details, but I just want to raise this issue because it is very, very hard to fundraise, because this is it tackles hard to reach population, migrants, and those who are marginalized. Such many marginalization and stigma, which is it is when you fundraise for cancer or for children or for, it's very easy. People react, but for these diseases, it is very complicated. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry to stay between you and this lunch. Thank you.
Thank you for your input, and to have a takeaway with us before lunch. I would like to invite Ibrahima, but please, in verbal, short.
Yeah, okay. I would like to warmly thank our panelists for their rich and inspiring contribution. It is clear that fundraising, it is not just about seeking financial resources. It is also about building relationship, trust, and giving each donor chance to actively participate in shared mission. Thank you for the attention, active participation. Let's continue working to make the difference. Okay.
Thank you. And one thing more, we invite to the stage Hussein Jaffrey, our CEO of Outpatient Alliance, is the request of Francisco. The floor is yours.
We're all hungry, but I don't want to miss this opportunity. The kit, but especially the medal, in representation of not just Mexico, not just FUTEGE. I believe from all of us, NGOs, patients, caregivers, everyone that is here today, to the WPA for the excellent work that you're making, from all of us to you guys. Okay.
One patient,
Next race is going to be 30th March next.